This is our countdown of the top 10 best PS4 RPGs of 2015. With so many great games to talk about, let's get right into this. Number 10, Wasteland 2. Originally released on the PC in 2014 via a Kickstarter campaign, Wasteland 2 came to PS4 in the form of the Director's Cut edition in October of this year. Wasteland 2 is a turn-based tactical RPG, and it's more of a hardcore RPG compared to what you see these days. The game is set in an alternate history where a nuclear holocaust took place in 1998, sparking a global nuclear war.
Its path through the wasteland and how you experience the game. You can create.
The writing is excellent with a branching storyline that is impacted by the player's decisions. The tactical gameplay works well, and while the graphics do seem a bit dated, that's something you have to deal with these classic RPGs. On a positive note, the environments do look fantastic. If you want a game with more of an old school feel, give Wasteland 2 a look. Number 9, Dragon Quest Heroes, The World Trees Woe, and The Blight Below. Many people were disappointed to hear that the latest Dragon Quest game wouldn't be a traditional one. Rather, it would play like a Musou game in the form of endless hack and slash combat. While it's not the turn-based RPG some of us are very fond of, the game still does have many RPG elements. And for fans of the Dragon Quest franchise, the game takes place in the same universe, so expect the same kind of humor, music, and characters from previous games. The visuals are great, and the Musou hack and slash gameplay was fun, even though a bit repetitive at times, which seems to be the fate with all the Musou style games. If you are a fan of Dragon Quest or JRPGs in general, check out Dragon Quest Heroes, it might surprise you. Number 8, Borderlands: The Handsome Collection. Yes, it's an HD remake of games that were released on the PlayStation 3, but considering how well regarded the Borderlands games are, the Handsome Collection had to be on the list. This collection takes Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel, ups the resolution to 1080p, and boosts it to 60 frames per second. Not only that, both of the games also include every bit of DLC that was ever released, so you're gonna get a lot more content out of the games. At this point, most of you have at least played Borderlands, so you know what to expect, but if you've never played the FPS RPG Loot Fest, then you must pick up the Handsome Collection, it's great. Number 7, Disgaea 5: Alliance of Vengeance. This game is not for everyone. Many gamers will be off-put by many things in Disgaea, whether it's the art style, the old school visuals, the grindy gameplay. The game is definitely for a niche audience. But for those of you that get into Disgaea, there's a lot to get invested into. The story is fun and quirky that'll take you some time to complete, but there's a ton of post-game content. The gameplay, if you've never played a Disgaea game, starts out fairly simplistic, but you'll quickly find out that there's a lot of depth to the game.
And them like chess pieces to annihilate enemies. But it doesn't end.
If you're into Japanese games and want a strategy RPG, there's not much better than Disgaea. Number 6, Bastion. Bastion has been around for a while now. The game was originally released back in 2011 on the Xbox 360, but that only shows how much of a timeless game Bastion is. Bastion is an action RPG where you play as a child during the aftermath of a calamity as he moves through fantasy-themed environments filled with enemies of various kinds.
The course of that as well.
The visuals are amazing with the great use of a watercolor art style. The music is excellent, the gameplay is varied and never feels repetitive, it keeps it enjoyable but never challenging. The plot is great too. At this point, if you haven't played Bastion, what's wrong with you? Buy it on PS4 ASAP. Number 5, Tales of Zestiria. Traditional JRPGs have been very sparse on the PS4, so fans of the genre were stoked for the release of Tales of Zestiria. While there were issues with the game as far as the story goes, I won't go deeper into it to avoid spoilers. Mechanically, Tales of Zestiria was great. This game, opposed to the last few Tales of game, took the series back to an open world setting. Gameplay was the same action fighting combat that's very enjoyable, albeit a bit repetitive at times.
Looks like we win!
Keep in mind that the game was released on the PlayStation 3 as well, so while the graphics don't look as good as your typical next-generation title, they still look good enough, but you can tell that this game wasn't specifically made for the PlayStation 4. Still, as far as JRPGs go, this is the best currently available on the PlayStation 4. Number 4, Divinity: Original Sin. Like Wasteland 2, Divinity: Original Sin was released on PC back in 2014. Also like Wasteland 2, the game was helped fund via a Kickstarter campaign. The game's a classic RPG, but Divinity: Original Sin modernizes the mechanics that would be found in those older RPGs. The game still retains the complexity found in older RPGs, so don't worry about it being too simplified.
Man of a relatively high perception, well, above average at least.
The game has a gorgeous world, the turn-based combat felt fresh and modern, and trust me, you will be invested into the story as well. Divinity: Original Sin is a great RPG, and while it's different from the typical RPG console gamers see, it's still a game that everybody that owns a PS4 should at least give a chance to. Number 3, Fallout 4. Easily the most anticipated game of the year, you already knew Fallout 4 was gonna be on this list. However, the game is by no means perfect. The technical issues are obvious, the constant frame rate drops, bugs, it's to be expected out of a Bethesda game, but it doesn't mean that we can excuse it. Still, Fallout 4 will give you hundreds upon hundreds of hours of joy. The main story can be finished relatively quickly, but obviously that's not where the majority of your playtime will come from. Exploring the world of Commonwealth, speaking to all of the NPCs, building settlements, doing the different side quests. The amount of content and variety in Fallout 4 is absolutely ridiculous. Bethesda crafted a terrific world in Fallout 4 that anyone can get absorbed into. Number 2, Bloodborne. The action RPG from Software is easily the best PlayStation 4 exclusive thus far. Obviously, Bloodborne is a lot like the popular Souls games, only it's much better. The visuals are fantastic, the gameplay is responsive, varied, and extremely enjoyable. And while the game is challenging, it's fair, and best of all, it's very rewarding to beat a difficult boss or get past the zone you were stuck in. The game never feels tedious, which for a game that's built fame on its difficulty, that's something From Software should be praised for. And while the story isn't something that will get you extremely emotionally invested into, there is a story, you just have to look for it, and it's told in a very unique way. If you have a PlayStation 4, Bloodborne is a must-play. It's the best exclusive on the platform by leaps and bounds. Number 1, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. It's difficult to call any game perfect, but as far as RPGs go, The Witcher 3 is as close as it's gonna get. The Witcher 3 is an open-world RPG with a very mature story. The game requires a lot of investment. Just to complete the main story, you're looking anywhere from 50 to 60 hours, and if you're looking to do all the side content, expect to spend well over 100 hours. The story of The Witcher 3 is the obvious standout. It's an epic story with emotional moments, amazing set pieces, and so much more. The gameplay was well thought out, with it being accessible to anyone if you just want to hack and slash or if you want to really get strategic and play the game at a harder difficulty. And obviously there's the visuals. While the game does have some technical issues on console, it's still very playable and the world looks amazing. If you're even remotely into RPGs, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is a must-play. So that wraps up our countdown of the top 10 best PS4 RPGs of 2015. Do you agree with our list? Do you disagree with our list? Do you think a game should be ranked higher, ranked lower? Do you think we completely forgot about a game? Let us know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.